Hey, 999, Evad here. Pipes are interesting. We usually think of them as things that carry water, or gas, or sound, if you're into organ music. But a pipe is also a portal, a question. What's on the other side? And few games have ever captured that feeling of trusting the unseen better than Super Mario Bros. A game where sometimes the only way forward is to leap. In Super Mario Bros., leaping isn't just something you do, it's your multi-purpose weapon in the masterpiece. Jumping isn't just movement, it's survival. But survival, of course, doesn't just happen. It has to be designed. And in the early 80s, Nintendo unleashed a team that would design survival and joy in a way no one had ever seen. Super Mario Bros. Was crafted by Nintendo's R&D 4 division, directed by a young designer named Shigeru Miyamoto, and shaped hand in hand with Takashi Tezuka. Two minds working together to build not just levels, but a whole philosophy of play. The programming, making it all work on limited hardware, came from Toshihiko Nakago and Kazuaki Morita. And the music, the soundtrack that would practically breathe life into Mario's jumps, was composed by Koji Kondo, who treated the NES's sound chip not as a limitation, not as an instrument, but as an orchestra. Super Mario Bros. First hit Japan's Famicom in September 1985 and reached North America by early 1986, at a time when the video game market on the continent was in limbo. But Mario didn't just survive. Oh no, he became a symbol of survival. How? Well, the world he was jumping into had a lot to do with it. The first time I played SMB1, I was transported to a magical world, taking this plumber on a journey into that first 1-1 Goomba. I died, and was horrified. Death does that, evidently. A great life lesson just after 4 seconds of gameplay. Now equipped with my mortal fear of the Goomba, I was ready to tackle this game, clumsily guiding the plumber through the iconic 1-1, bonking on obstacles, jumping over pipes, and collecting coins. The need to progress from left to right was ingrained in my young self. Then I fell in a pit. Meanwhile, my cousin, who owned the game, was getting opportunities between each of my deaths. He sent Mario down a pipe. I was in awe. A dark room filled with riches. He collected the goodies and was on his way to the flagpole, reaching the top and receiving the coveted maximum flagpole score. These youthful experiences were plentiful. I remember many vividly, like when I saw him running along the ceiling of 1-2. Was he cheating? Maybe. But in that moment, I knew I must try to get up there too. Always jealous of why my friends would get fireworks celebrations at the end of levels and I wouldn't, constantly trying to push myself harder and harder. The game was hard, but it was hard in such a fun way that I couldn't put it down. It was imperative that I got better. There were so many more levels to explore, to run around in, to leap through. This game made the eternal struggle for survival fun, and its many components crept into my day-to-day life. All this 3 years before I would ever even own my first NES. I got pretty good at the game, considering I only had access to it when visiting friends. But good is relative, and it was unfathomable how much I would improve with platforming on this game engine. It was a game unlike anything I had ever seen before, and what I had seen was phenomenal. The look. When you first boot up Super Mario Bros., the visuals don't just show you a world, they invite you into it. Mario and Luigi pop off the screen, simple, bold, recognizable at a glance. Their iconic overalls and hats make their arms and heads really pop on old CRT TVs. The Goombas? Little balls of menace. They're simple too, just a handful of pixels tall, but their frowns are unmistakable. And then there were the Koopas. I have to confess, when I was a kid, I thought they were ducks. Friends insisted they were turtles. And when I pointed at the pair of Koopas saying, "Turtles don't have wings," they came right back at me with, "Yeah, well, ducks don't have shells." Touché. Eventually, the official manual settled it. Turtles. But before I even knew what they were, they looked fantastic, colorful, bouncy. alive. And it wasn't just the characters. The backgrounds were a revelation. Bright, playful skies with clouds and cheerful colors when you're above ground. Dark, drab, almost claustrophobic tones when you venture underground. But contrast that with the open-air sky platforming stages, like World 1-3, where there's hardly any ground at all. Just tiny platforms and a yawning, happy blue void beneath you. Those stages didn't feel claustrophobic. They felt like freedom. And why is that? Why do wide-open skies feel liberating, while caves, tight and closed, feel tense and dangerous? Maybe it's biology. Survival instincts buried deep inside us. The open air means you can run, see, escape. Underground, you can't. Mario's world taps into those primal feelings without ever needing to say a word. Super Mario Bros. Could shift moods with nothing but pixels and colors. It wasn't just a background. It was a world. And somehow, even with the NES's tiny limits, it felt endless. If the graphics invite you into the world of Super Mario Bros., the sound pulls you through it. This soundtrack isn't just background music, it's momentum, made audible. Koji Kondo's overworld theme, probably the most famous piece of video game music ever, isn't just catchy. It's designed to fit Mario's movement like a perfectly tailored suit. The melody is built around short, bouncy phrases. Why? Because short phrases mirror the rhythm of jumping, stopping, changing direction. In fact, if you listen closely, it's almost like the song itself is jumping. And harmonically, it's ridiculously clever. Kondo doesn't stick to just simple bleeps and bloops. He dances on the sound chip, bouncing back and forth like Mario himself. No wonder the overworld theme makes you want to keep moving forward. It's engineered for it. And then the timer hits 100. Suddenly, the music doesn't change. It speeds up. Same notes, same structure, but your brain hears it differently. Faster tempo equals higher urgency. Your heart rate and the soundtrack sync up. It's like the game itself is pushing you from behind, whispering, "Hurry, hurry." Other musical tracks pull similar tricks. The underground section, lower pitch, heavy repetition, like echoes in a cave. The underwater music, flowing, smooth, heavy on longer notes, like you're actually swimming through sound. The invincibility music, it's bright and jittery, short note bursts that scream, "You're unstoppable, but not for long." Super Mario Bros. Doesn't just sound good, it sounds right. Even if you don't know a C major from a sea cucumber, your brain feels it anyway. But music isn't the only way Super Mario Bros. Talks to you. Every sound effect, pop, boing, plink, zap, it's a tiny musical instrument. Grab a coin, a bright upward blink, like a small reward bell, conditioning on the classic scale. Are you salivating yet? Stomp an enemy? A satisfying squish and pop. Jump, that iconic cartoonish bounce sound. A literal liftoff. Even Mario's death jingle, that quick, somber descending scale. It's basically a musical sigh. And when you finally lose all your lives, and the game over tune hits, simple, short, final. It's not sad because it tries to be. It's sad because it stops. But not every sound signals defeat. When you finish a level, a triumphant fanfare rewards you, quick and bright, just enough to say, "You made it!" And if you manage to defeat Bowser, there's another slightly grander fanfare, paired with the sight of a grateful mushroom retainer, or eventually Princess Toadstool. A musical handshake congratulating you for not giving up. Speaking of the princess, her rescue music, it's lighter, gentler. Almost a musical exhale because you finally made it home. Sound effects and music together aren't just decorations in Super Mario Bros. They're the emotional bloodstream of the whole game. Sound effects and music aren't just background noise in Super Mario Bros. They're a second language, telling you, without words, that you're winning, losing, rising, falling, collecting, escaping. But how you hear the game is only half the story, because you don't just listen to Super Mario Bros. You control it. Every jump, every dash, every duck under a bullet, it's all part of an invisible conversation between your mind, your fingers, and the world inside the screen. In most games, movement is movement. Press jump, jump. Press right, go right. Press left, the universe implodes on itself. But Super Mario Bros. Did something different. It gave movement weight. When Mario runs, he doesn't just go, he builds up speed. When he jumps, he doesn't just rise, he carries momentum through the air, soaring further if you run faster, losing his vertical acceleration earlier if you release the button sooner. It's not random, it's physics. Not realistic in a scientific sense, but real enough to feel natural. Real enough to beat everything that came before it. At the time, nobody fully realized just how revolutionary it was, but once you played it, you felt it. Running, jumping, sliding, soaring, it wasn't just animation. It was a new kind of language between the player and the screen. Mario doesn't move the way real people do. He moves the way you wish you could move. Fast, fluid, with just enough slide to feel dangerous, and just enough control to feel possible. It's this tension between slipperiness and precision that makes simply moving in Super Mario Bros. So satisfying, and everything in the game is built around it. Swimming physics in video games are almost always bad. Slippery, stiff, frustrating. But Super Mario Bros. Surprised everyone by making swimming feel like swimming. Not perfect, but playful. Every tap of the jump button gives Mario a kick upward. And just like in real life, the size of your movement depends on the strength of your stroke. It is subtle, but Mario swims higher when you tap the button versus holding it down. Well known among speedrunners, but useful in any precision-critical scenario you may find yourself in. It's a simple system, but it creates a genuine sense of control in a place where most games have nothing but chaos. Speaking of chaos, water levels introduce more randomness than almost anywhere else in the game. Cheap spawns are effectively random. People who know their stuff may talk about frame rules and how patterns can be forced, but to casuals, the word random applies fine here. Bloopers, those ghostly drifting squids, don't just wander. They move according to hidden rules. Get close enough, and some zero in on you, like homing squids. Others appear erratic, until you recognize. They zero in on the direction you are facing. It feels random at first, unpredictable, chaotic, but it isn't. Once you start watching carefully, you realize each blooper spawns with a set behavior style. Identify the pattern, and you can almost dance around them. What seems random at first is actually an invitation to learn. It's not about memorization here, it's about adaptation. And the environment adapts too. Get too close to the open pits at the bottom of the screen, you'll feel something subtle. A pull, a current. Invisible but real, nudging you downward, encouraging mistakes. At first it's disorienting, but soon you'll learn to appreciate it. Just another secret rule in the hidden grammar of Super Mario Bros. The level design, it's honestly pretty overrated. I mean, it's not like World 1 taught millions of players the core mechanics of an entirely new genre without using a single word of text. Or did it? Yes. Yes, it did. It's not just good level design. It basically invented how games teach players without stopping the action to teach them. Maybe Miyamoto just got lucky that day. No, just accidentally designed one of the most influential levels in gaming history. Happens all the time. Accidents happen. That's what I said about the level design, but that was a cheeky lie. The fireworks? Those weren't random. By now it's widely known what causes them, but to avoid the most trivial of all spoilers, I'll refer to the manual on this one. The reason fireworks go off is a secret. See if you can figure it out. That's a challenge. The continue code, hold A, press start, and you'll resume at the start of the last world you reach. It sounds like a playground rumor, but it works. And the second quest, a full replay, faster, harder, with Goombas swapped out for Buzzy Beetles. That's not a bug, that's a bonus. A new game plus. But not everything was planned. One thing definitely wasn't. A broken warp, a glitched pipe, a door to a world that shouldn't exist. The Minus World. There are many resources available to explain it, in far greater detail than the scope of this review. How to, what it is, and why it's different on the FDS. You're free to explore this on your own, and honestly, I encourage it. The one-player experience. In the single-player mode, you're Mario. In two-player mode, you're Mario. And then Luigi. You take turns, not lives, not screens, turns. Like chess, like waiting in line, like a ritual, The second player doesn't join in mid-level. There's no teamwork, no help, no co-op. Just you watching your sibling, your friend, or your own reflection fall into a pit before it's your turn to try. It's cooperative, but only emotionally. Two players, one story. No sharing. But whether you're jumping solo or tag teaming across turns, the goal is the same. Finish the level, beat the game, rescue the princess, and try not to lose your cool when Luigi slips off a cliff in one more. Relevance today. Legacy isn't always about being first. It's about being unforgettable. And Super Mario Bros. Didn't invent side-scrolling platformers, but it did invent how we remember them. Every coin chime, every pipe, every pixel, this game taught us how video games could feel. Responsive, intuitive, exciting, complete. Mario didn't just jump into a world. He jumped out of the screen and into culture. There are people today who weren't even born when this game came out, but still know the sound of a 1-up. They've never touched an NES controller, but they know exactly what the minus world is. And those who were there, we remember. Blowing into the cartridge, even though it didn't help. The faint blue tint on a CRT television. Sharing tips at school. Running full speed through 1-1 without stopping. Because you'd played it so many times, it had become muscle memory. Mario was more than just a plumber. He was ours. And somewhere, he still is. Waiting, just beyond the title screen. Ready to run, jump, swim, and slide down that flagpole. One more time. Mario might be timeless, but time, as it turns out, never stops moving. And in Season 2, we will move along with it. Maybe you're ready for chariots of speed, tires on asphalt, synths in our ears, and a race to the finish line. Or maybe you'd rather build a world, be a god, and then fight for it with sword in hand. Either way, something very different is just around the bend. I'm Evad999. This was Season 1, and the next game, well, it's no plumber's tale. See you next mission.